This is, guess what episode we're talking about today? It has nothing to do with the things or the way that I'm singing right now. It's Simple Plan, actually. It's Simple Plan is what we're talking about today. One of the OG pop punk anthems. I've been loving the train we've been riding lately. Talked a little Avril last week. Keeping it Canadian. Talking about Simple Plan this week.
Oi.
Not an official... Oi, oi, oi. Ozzy, 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 which is super the correct way to do that. I've one time, a roommate in college had an Ozzy, 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 oi, oi, oi t-shirt. And I was like, Ozzy, oi, Ozzy, oi, Ozzy, oi. What's that? She's like, you're a fucking idiot. Anyway, not an official Canada month, but definitely an early 2000s OG pop punk smash hit month, arguably. Not officially. But
yeah, I was going to say arguably.
I'm just a kid. I'm just a kid and life is a nightmare. Can we talk about that? And he was a skater boy. She said, see you later, boy. Can I make it any more obvious about how these are just universally loved, crazy smash hits? Last week we argued, put some respect on the name, but I think there's already respect on Avril's name. She's one of the GOATs. This week is a little, almost a good Charlotte-y, is this a not blared out your window type stuff, but shall we put some respect on Simple Plan's name? Let's get into it.
What is going on, everybody? I'm Tom.
And I'm Pat.
We're best friends, and you're listening to the Reminiscent Podcast. Yeah, I, again, talked about this with Good Charlotte. I got the feeling that it was not cool to like Simple Plan at the time. They were posers. They weren't real punk. They weren't even a real band. They were some big music industry manufactured thing. There was a lot of allegations at the time, but it was one of my favorite bands. It was a huge entry into the genre. Like this album, No Pads, No Helmets, Just Balls, directly led me to Blink-182. It kind of paved the way for my musical taste. I owe a lot to this band. I will always put respect on the name. I love Simple Plan. I was at their... What was it? 15-year anniversary show or something. My sister flew in from California. We got to see them live, and it was absolutely incredible. The same lineup from when they formed back in like 2000. Can you believe that? The same guys. There's never been a change in the lineup. They're very good at what they do.
I have to imagine it's at least somewhat rare. I mean,
yes.
Bands like Yellowcard just said, no, we need to stop this. Stop it. So, yeah, I'd imagine that's crazy rare and speaks to the Canadian nature of these folks. I don't know. I don't want to be offensive by forcing folks on the Canadian lads. I don't even know why I said lads. This is unraveling rather quickly. So why don't you take the ball back and just keep it rolling? That seems rare to me, but also is a very cool little fast fact.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really cool that they've survived so long. They've kind of maintained relevance. They're still putting out really good songs. They're having fun with the new music. But back at the time, the first song I ever heard was Addicted. My sister introduced me to it, and we loved Simple Plan together. Again, I knew that it wasn't cool, so I wasn't like blasting it in the rate. Like, I wasn't driving at the time. I was very privately listening to them on headphones, but as loud as those headphones would go. This album was one of my first favorites ever. And I'm Just a Kid was my favorite song on the album. Great music video. Lots to talk about. Lots of anecdotes. Not many fun facts. I honestly forgot this week. But tons of stories about my sister and this song and things that happened growing up. And I spent a lot of time with the song. So just lots of memories attached to it. And, of course, my sister texts me as I'm talking about it. She must have known, but super stoked to talk about it, man. When was the first time you heard the song? First time you heard the album? Did you own the album with all the scantily clad party scenes?
I can tell you about the most recent time I've heard this song.
Okay.
My sister was traveling through the place that I lived at the moment of her traveling. And no, just kidding. It was like some time ago. Which wasn't even any more direct. Why do I speak this way? Okay, my sister was visiting, And we got wine drunk and watched Cheaper by the Dozen, which is her favorite thing to do. And also now my favorite thing to do. That movie is honestly very incredible. Crazy cast.
So good.
And it's one of those, we always talk about Spider-Man 2, but let's not fucking sleep on the Cheaper by the Dozen soundtrack, people.
It's a banger.
Now we're going to talk about the new guy, all this stuff, et cetera, et cetera. That's what the music video is kind of based off of. But I just needed to take a moment and say, I'm Just a Kid and Life is a Nightmare is, oh man. I think, I don't know. I kind of don't have, I know you were big into Simple Plan growing up and everything, but I think I've kind of more after the fact realized that it's just one of those bands where it is in me somehow, some way. It made its way into my soul, my brain, everything like that. I don't have any I know you when I would go to your house to watch Homestar Runner videos on your family's computer.
The cow gateway.
Right. Yeah, exactly. The no pads, no helmets, just balls. I thought that was really funny. The girls on the cover were like, wait a minute, are they even allowed to print this stuff? But really, by today's Instagram standards, was rather PG.
Right.
But, I don't have a lot of memories other than knowing you really liked them. And then when I was watching Cheaper by the Dozen and getting wine drunk with my sister recently, I was like, is this the greatest song ever written? Simple Plan has this thing where it's like they've almost been Nickelbacked in a way. Maybe it's a weird, unfair thing we do to Canadian bands where it's just like, are they soft? Is it weird? I'm like, let's just wait just a fucking minute. Get wine drunk with a sibling, watch Cheaper by the Dozen. And when I'm Just a Kid comes in, if you're not feeling feelings, then I don't know what to tell you. I think you're living, I don't know. I think you need to reevaluate if you're not feeling feelings at that moment. There's like an innocence, I guess, or like a childlike wonder to the frame of reference or the narrator in a lot of Simple Plan songs. But
yeah,
that groundwork had to be laid. We talked about this last week with Avril, and forgive me for rambling a little bit. I'll be finished in a second here, but some of that pop punk early scene 2000 stuff had to be laid for it to get as weird as it got, which is kind of the genesis of our show. So it's weird to go this far back in the decade and be like, and it's not like we're not talking about the 60s that far back in the decade. It was like, I don't know, 20 years ago, whatever. Time continues on, doesn't it? Whatever. Nobody cares. But I think the point I'm trying to make here is like, there was an innocence to those early 2000s pop punk bands that I guess seem soft now, but I guess we're here to say that we're posers and we love it. You know what I mean? Like, I hate to say that it's a Windows up car song, not Windows down car song, but I guess it kind of is, but I don't think that's super fair. And I just hate that if there is any, and tweet at us at _reminiscent FM if we are incorrect on that. But it seems like that's where like the current shift on Simple Plan has gotten to. Not that they've been Nickelbacked per se, but do you know what I'm trying to say? Am I off on this?
No, they were never cool, but I would love to imagine you're at a red light with like 10 other cars and all 10 of those cars are blasting I'm Just a Kid with the windows up,
Because life literally is a nightmare at the moment. I think there's an argument to be made for the sing-along nature of everything. Everyone's bobbing their heads. Everyone's super into it. I'd like to live in that world. Maybe when the fires and the hurricanes have gone away, which they won't, because damn it, this is getting bleak again. This is one of those things, Tom. Okay, I would also like to live in that world where everyone's at the stoplight, not to like totally go away from that thought you just thought. I think that could be a beautiful version of like world peace someday, maybe. Simple Plan, what do you think? You want to make world peace happen? Would love to hear from you. Role models, we could all be role models and wear your t-shirts. It'll be great. Okay, but there's a more important thing to discuss here, Tom. And that important thing is the movie The New Guy.
Right.
This is one of those, as we learned on Twitter a few weeks ago, all of you were kind of participating. We were kind of this weird thing where movies and music videos in the 2000s, and this probably happened in other decades, but they kind of came together to morph. And it's all the characters, the stars from the movie are in the music video playing kind of themselves in the movie.
Right.
But the plot of the music video, because it's a different thing, has to be loosely different. We've seen that with Loser and Teenage Dirtbag by Wheatus. We've learned that there's a bunch of examples involved with the Spider-Man 2 soundtrack, which someday we'll do an episode where we really sit down and talk about what a crazy thing Spider-Man 2 soundtrack was. People talk about Snakes on a Plane. People talk about, maybe put it in the show notes, some of those tweets, or talk about it later or pull it up. But I think my point here is it's just The New Guy with Simple Plan on the campus of the high school. You actually know where this high school is. You want to go visit it someday.
Yeah, so I really loved this music video. I loved that like circular brick thing that he's sitting in. And it's actually funny. There's a Target by my house and they have one of those. It's not brick, but every time I see it, it made me think of this music video. So it's not too far from my sister's house. It's a high school in Long Beach. I forget the name of the school, but it's not that far away. So if I go visit my sister, I totally want to make a drive up there and like recreate one of the shots. It was just a high school in Long Beach. Apparently the movie New Guy was filmed, I believe, in Texas. So I'm kind of not sure if they just snagged clips from the movie or if they remade anything. Yeah, they had to.
Well, yeah, because the plot is, so I guess this is something we've been doing in the music video episodes where like the loose plot is members of the band are trying to beat the new guy to gain the favor of Eliza Dushku's character. I doubt I pronounced her last name correctly, and my apologies to Eliza if I'm even pronouncing her first name correctly. And what's kind of weird is the members of Simple Plan, he's just singing this like kind of soft sing-along, I'm Just a Kid anthem, this soft pop rock, whatever, power pop sing-along anthem to that they're just dying, I guess. Like they're not dying, but the kind of the stunts or whatever, I don't know if this is like Jackass era humor or something, but they are really injuring themselves trying to impress Miss Dushku.
Yeah, so I mean, let's talk about it, and the song, it starts off kind of slow. I woke up, it was 7. I waited till 11 just to figure out that no one would call. First of all, are we talking 7 a.m. or 7 p.m.? Because who's calling to make plans by 11 a.m.?
Oh, this boy's up all day. This has been a day of sadness. When I was listening to this, I did think about it from your point of view, because you've always mentioned loving Simple Plan from a young age. You've always mentioned being like, hey, I wasn't like a quote unquote friend guy. You had like a core group that was like your homies, but that really didn't develop maybe till mid high school, maybe fully, like in full swing after the band we were in together kind of got underway. I don't know if I'm remembering that accurately, but you always talk about this band and this, not this song specifically, but I'm listening to this song. I'm like, is this song the reason Tom loves Simple Plan so much? Oh my
they
God.
wrote it for me, Pat. Like, honestly, man. So I feel like I had more friends freshman and sophomore year of high school. And then they stopped wanting to ride bikes in the woods and, do random dumb shit. I've been straight edge my whole life. And when people started partying, then that's what they did on weekends. And I didn't go until the point where I just wasn't invited because I never went. So like the last 2 years of high school was just like, like I've said, listening to Riot by Paramore and playing RuneScape every night my entire life. And that's kind of what it felt like all through high school. And it feels like this song was written about me and me alone. A lot of their songs did. I know I talked about Perfect on the Lay on the Floor in Despair mixtape draft.
Oh my God. Here's the thing about Perfect, and I know we're not talking about that song right now. We were talking about a Yellow Card, either album or mixtape draft, something. Songs about dads came up.
Oh yeah.
And
Life of a Salesman.
Perfect. I thought about that because you have a pretty good relationship with your dad. So I was like, if there's a Simple Plan song Tom was vibing to in a sad way, I don't think it would have been this one to the fullest, because Tom's dad's pretty great.
Then you remember my stepdad.
Like objectively, oh, well, maybe I could see it. Now that you mention it, it's kind of a theme of the show, I suppose, is bending lyrics to fit your life, I guess. I think we're all guilty of that. So now I can see that. But yeah, this was definitely this is definitely the song I thought of when I was listening. I was like, and then even I thought, I'm like, from like a modern day pandemic standpoint, with life seeming like a nightmare and everything. Like 7 to 11, just me and my dog, who I'm loving, and all of you. Honestly, this podcast has been honestly the perfect. Perfect thing. Thanks everybody for being here. We should say that more every week. But it'd be a worse show if those were the only words we said. But know that that's true. But yeah, I thought of you a lot. But I also didn't think of you at all during.
When I hear about teenage losers, I think about Tom.
I didn't know how to touch about it on the show. I didn't be like, hey Tom, can you talk about your despair a scotch before we get into this zany video? But the thing is, we always talk about this from a friend standpoint, and we'll get to the video in a minute, but the RuneScape stuff is accurate.
Because I still play RuneScape, dude.
But part of me wonders if, there were memories where I was there on the nights where that wasn't happening. And so was Zach and some of the other folks that were in the band we were in the scene. And so it wasn't a 100%
no, not
despair rate, I guess is my argument. Part of me wonders, and this is a quick old version of the show question, and we don't have to spend too much time on it. Do you think you hang on to certain memories consciously or subconsciously in terms of remembering certain things? Because there was at least a slice of the pie that did involve you not in the house listening to this song playing RuneScape.
Right. No, I mean, we had a lot of good times with the band and stuff. Things changed pretty dramatically junior year. But that's definitely like a pretty big memory. It's not all bad. I don't remember it as all bad.
Here's more of a song related note. Is the I'm just a kid in life just a nightmare thing? I know we always joke about that meme where there's like an 11-year-old laying in the rain and they meme about it. Like, this is what it feels like when you're listening to the songs about divorces and breakups from 26-year-old artists, but you're 13 and don't have any grasp on what relationships even mean. But everything feels so insane. Does that speak to the universal notion of this tune? Why it's like, hey man, growing up is not, I think, notably like notoriously rough on many people. Right.
No, I mean, like, there's a lot of this song that I still feel is applicable. Like, I don't know if it's quote unquote an issue, but I feel like I do have this self-image issue of still feeling like I'm just some dumb little kid, like when I'm self-employed, right? And these like companies, like corporations with marketing budgets, give me money to do work for them. And there's still a part of me that's like, why would they trust some kid with this project? It's like, oh, I'm not a kid. I'm beyond an adult. I'm 29 years old. No one sees me as like a dumb, emotional little 12-year-old, but I still kind of feel like that. So there's this really like push and pull of, I still feel like a dumb kid, and then I'm double frustrated because I don't want to feel that way. So I'm just like beating myself up left and right for feeling like I'm just a kid and life is a nightmare, kind of.
Yeah, here's a quick knock on the song. It implies that there's a point where you don't feel like you're the kid. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, oh, at least I'll outgrow this song, and that did not turn out to be the case. So it's like. It is interesting how you kind of be like,
and my life is a nightmare.
And Oregon's on fire. And several other states. I don't know why I picked that one. Anyway, we should probably get the music video and not kind of linger on this too much, but there is something I think, what I'm trying to tap into is just like, it's universal because everyone felt that way at one point, and it's even more so because everyone still feels like they're, or at least I know that's true for you and me based on our chats, is, I don't feel a ton different than like the way I would have felt or woken up in my sophomore year, thinking I had like feeling pretty ill prepared for stuff in general. You know what I mean? The weight of existence and everything like that. And Simple Plan for tapping directly into that vein, I guess is what I'm saying. Okay, enough on that point. I think we kind of drove that one home. Sorry for bringing up anything too weird.
Let me get one last thing though.
Sure. Right. I mean, it had to be touched on, Tom, because that is one of the defining non-Sherpa. Like, I found this myself, and this was my moments for you. So I didn't want to just skate over it, I think is what I'm trying to say.
Well, my sister introduced me.
This is like a Tom song.
Well, okay. So my sister introduced me because she heard the song Addicted, and we thought it was so hilarious that they said dick on the radio. Because we were in 5th grade, and that was like the height, or I was in 5th grade. That was the height of comedy. But okay, so my dad lives in upstate New York, like across the street from the lake. So we would go walk down his like neighbor's steps down the cliff and have bonfires on the lake. We would go there and just kind of hang out. And my sister's in 7th grade. She takes her Walkman or Discman or whatever down to the lake. She's listening to Simple Plan. And there was this big rock. It was maybe like 4 foot by 4 foot. And we used to like put our sticks and stuff on there for the bonfire. But my sister was sitting on it. She takes a rock and she like scrapes into the rock, "I'm just a kid and life is a nightmare." And she was just listening to the song. My sister was never like terribly depressed or anything like that. But, she's enjoying the song. She comes back up from the lake, hanging out at my dad's. We're staying the weekend there. And the next morning there's a knock on the door. And my dad's house is like very remote. Like no one ever comes to the door. And this lady, we see a lady talking to my dad. Never seen the lady before. She leaves and my dad sits down with us. And she was like, that was the neighbor who owns that like lakefront property. She's like, she's a children's therapist. And she saw writing on this rock that said, "I'm just a kid and my life is a nightmare." And she came over because she thought maybe one of you were suicidal.
Okay, quick game. Because I think being your friend, that's an anecdote that I've come across previously.
Oh, really? I didn't know I've told that before.
Well, here's a game I want to play.
Okay.
What would have been, of all the songs we talk about on the show, speaking of that genre, what would have been the top 5 worst things she should have scrawled on that rock, or could have? I'm going to start right off the bat. Comes to mind, "Cut My Wrists and Black My Eyes" by Hawthorne Heights. I think that would have been a rough one for sure.
All right, give me...
But also, yeah, go ahead.
"Cut My Life into Pieces. This Is My Last Resort."
Okay.
"Suffocation, No Breathing."
Yeah. This would be an honorable mention. "Subtle as a Brick in the Small of My Back." Let's end this call and end this conversation. Okay. Not quite as Call the Dad and sad, but definitely like, who the wrote this? Just an honorable mention, not officially top 5.
Man, I just had another one and it left me. But yes, tweet at the show @_reminiscent_FM. What are some of the worst lyrics your children's therapist neighbor could find written on a rock?
What would you have wanted your neighbor to see you have scrawled on a rock? Or what would you have not, depending on your point of view there.
It's just one of those days. Everything is everybody sucks.
Now we have to do a top 5 list of things. Oh my God, that's a good one actually. And also a dynamite impression. Like, I don't want to just skate over the fact that was actually, have you been practicing that ? I'm not super sure.
Every time Megan hears the phrase, "it's just one of those days," she says, "Everything is so it's something that's yelled around my household a lot.
Damn. Oh man. And that boy was me.
Lots of yell singing in my house.
Should have put that on the rock. That boy was me. I think there's definitely a top 5 weird fart punk lyrics that wouldn't have made sense, but also warrants a call. I think "Bowling for Soups," "She wears a two-way," but I'm not quite sure what that means, would have probably warranted a call. Anyway, we can move on. Your poor sister, just growing up. Everybody grows up. That's part of it for sure. Okay. I guess this is growing up. This is the worst. Please save me. Okay. Make me stop talking. There's a Mean Girls bus hit.
Yes.
Hit by bus thing. And they open up the video right off the jump, which opens up a theme of like kind of people just fucking dying. I don't know. Like, it's supposed to be this weird, goofy pop punky, like, whoa, he got hit by a bus, but like is that person alive? But weird. It came out before Mean Girls. I don't want to say Mean Girls stole it, but definitely like very similar editing to a bus hitting a high school person.
For sure. And the way that Pierre sings through it, like, well, that sucks. Like, his facial expression is great. Yeah. So like, to set up the music video, there's like the loser in the video, what's the DJ Qualls or something?
Had a small part in Scrubs. It's interesting listening to the Real Doctors, Fake Friends, or switch that, you know what I mean, podcast, because they said like as the show got better, people who were in movies and would like cameo in the show, and he's one of JD's interns at one point.
Yeah,
after he had been in a string of movies. So
that's right.
But yeah, he was in a couple of these college-y. I think he might have been. He was in like
Euro Trip or Road Trip or whatever.
There was a string of movies where he would have been in a third of them. I think, okay. Like loose math in my head. But this was the one where one of his only leading man parts. Okay. Definitely a tall, lanky guy. But yeah, in the movie, has to leave school because I think his breaks or something, like super 2000.
God.
If what we call on this show as fart punk could be a movie genre as well, this would fall into that. I think the fact that Mutt ended up on American Pie we all know why we're here and what we're doing here. So, he's in the movie. He goes to a new school, and Eddie Griffin, who is a prisoner, comes in contact with him and teaches him to do this thing with his eyes, where it's like, do you do do. Anyway, and he like does this thing with a Zippo lighter, I think. Anyway, he's in a fucking funk band with Zooey Deschanel as well, which is like another thing that happens in this movie. I fucking love this movie. We'll get to whether or not it's a good movie.
I tried to watch
let's do it now.
I tried to watch it. So
Fine.
I found out it was based on a movie. It has a 7% on Rotten Tomatoes. I tried to watch it, and like 10 minutes in, I just had to give up. It was not
I think you're a fucking fool, my guy. You are wrong. Although I put a Twitter poll out, and I put, is this movie good? It's in the three options were one, yes, Eddie Griffin, come on. 2, no, hard no. And 3, define good. And a lot of you voted define good. So I think that speaks to the expectations for the movie itself. I thought it was fucking hilarious. A lot of movies with Eddie Griffin in the 2000s were my favorite, Undercover Brother being one of them as well. But let's just say this. He's the new guy at the school trying to impress, I guess, Elijah Dushku in her 2000s prime. I don't know if it was pre or post Dollhouse or whatever that, I forget the name of the director. I guess it doesn't really matter. It might have been Paper Doll, but I think it was Dollhouse actually. Anyway, it was only on for one of those like one hit. What I'm saying does not matter. He's a new kid at the school, and he's trying to impress her in the movie as well. And that's kind of, but the band in the music video version, you don't learn that he had been in prison taught by Eddie Griffin to do a thing with his eyes at all.
Right.
He's just competing or winning by not competing against the members of Simple Plan to impress Miss Eliza. And one of the first examples, I guess, I don't even know if it's a Simple Plan member getting hit by the bus, but she has car troubles soon in the music video, like kind of one of the first few moments. And tall new guy comes in, he's going to help her out. And kind of the theme of the video is Simple Plan band members keep stepping in to say, no, I got this. And then they all die. Like, so weird to me. Like, and again, it turns out they're all just like maimed or whatever at the end. They come in on crutches and stuff, but like pretty dark, weird 2000s humor for sure. But yeah, the first trick is the guy electrocutes himself in the car battery, and the hood slams on his skull. So, and he's out of the commission. New guy did not win her that day, but he didn't lose her. You know, he's still in the game. And pranks continue to ensue in, I guess, a high school setting, even though a lot of these people seem to be 33.
Right. There's a skateboarding scene where a guy goes to like grind a rail. I think it was Jeff, the member from the band, puts his arm across like, no, I got this. He like busts some big like backside board slide and just eats. And Tony fucking Hawk in the crowd is like, ooh, which like, okay. Which was just stolen from the movie, I guess. It was a clip from the movie. But, okay, the whole thing of this music video is the band hurting themselves. And everyone makes that, like, blockbuster movie face, like, ooh. And, like, I hate that face, dude. It bothers me so much. And that's the whole music video. But what else do we have?
Of all the movie history of people going, ooh, what percentage of those reactions did not follow
a fart?
People getting hit in the nuts really hard.
Right.
Is it under 5%, I wonder?
Most of them are going to be brash college movies, I'll say. So.
Yeah. Brash comms. Not even romp. Brash.
All right. So what else do we have? We have the skateboard. We have wrestling.
We have a wrestling. Yeah. And I love in movies, Indiana Jones being the prime example here, when somebody comes into a fight where it's two people and one of the person does something kung fu-y.
You know they're getting their beat.
Yeah, you know they're going to get f***ed up if they're like, I am showing off. And then, you know, they're going to be ended that day. Somebody's going to end their life for sure. And that's exactly what happens. But the thing about Simple Plan is they are saving the new guy from for sure doom that day. So really they're doing him a service and keeping him healthy enough to eventually date Miss Eliza, who at first was having car troubles, but as the movie goes on, it's just kind of near normal high school. So at a certain point, she's not even...
Does she
like
go
the
to
wrestling
that
thing
school?
wasn't even about winning her over necessarily. Like, I guess she's a cheerleader in the scene, but also like there were a lot of other cheerleaders, a lot of other wrestlers. Like at some point, people are just getting f***ed up. Like people are just getting injured at that point, I think.
Right. So, okay, yeah, all these things keep happening. There's a pair of pretty wild sunglasses you pointed out on the doc here. I don't know if you want to talk about sunglasses in the year 2002, but
were they giant and white yet? Or were they still super tiny and black?
Super tiny and like very like they looked like what do you call it? They're like very slotted, very like it reminds me of it almost looks like he got that pair from Mark Hoppus in when he arrives at school in the Josie music video and he has those like crazy sunglasses on.
Yes. Oh, another situation where someone firmly in their mid 20s to late 20s plays a love interest in a music video for a band full of people also not in high school. So right. Let's just take a moment to appreciate the wild ride sunglasses have been on over the last 20 years.
They're getting weird again, man. They're getting really
very
weird.
Specifically shaped. Aviators for like a full 8 years. Giant and white for like a minute. And
I had a pair of those.
Even gianter in a sorority girl frame of reference for like a little bit there in the early 2010s. And now, I don't know, you tell me, where are they at now?
They're getting real small and pinchy again, man.
Small and pinchy. Small and pinchy was my nickname in high school.
And that boy was me.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that boy was...
Okay. Hey everybody, I want to give a quick Patreon update, but first I want to thank our Council of Elders. We've got Andre Prevost and Johnny Leftwich of the Steve Johnson's Happy Hour podcast. Thank you both so much for contributing to the show, and thank you to everyone in our Patreon. We've got a lot of fun stuff coming soon, a video AMA coming shortly, and something that I'm very excited about. Andre actually reached out and was like, what if every month you picked a random supporter to be able to contribute a song to our monthly playlist that we put on Apple Music and Spotify? And I love the idea. So this month for September, Andre is providing us with the song My Ex's Best Friend by Machine Gun Kelly. So that's going to be featured on our Songs of the Week monthly playlist. So if you'd like to hear one of your favorite songs on our playlist, you can join the Patreon at patreon.com/reminiscent. Thank you all so much for supporting the show, and back to the episode. So the band's getting f***ed up, and eventually they're playing a show in the gym. Can we talk about, there's a lot to talk about. The band as a whole, Pierre's voice, very polarizing.
And how they should have been named Small and Pinchy.
And they're performing, right? They're all hurt. They're magically okay during the performance. I think it's safe to say they're trying to separate the story from the performance shot, right? Get to know the band. The thing that stood out is a lot of pop punk bands don't look natural in a music video. It looks like they've never performed in their lives. Simple Plan does not come off this way. I feel like they were born to perform in this music video. Like, they're doing all the right things. They look good. The drummer is slamming his drums. Pierre's doing a little kick dance, and they all just look good. They look so natural.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said for how good they are at this in terms of the 3 smash hits, maybe 4 smash hits that they had during their career, or during their prime years, I should say. I don't want to be disrespectful in any way.
5 or 6.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said also for, let's just touch on this. We, last week during the Avril episode, we talked about the riffs and stuff. Is it just the saying I'm just a kid over a low, little bit of a hi-hat thing, kind of softly into the, we talked about the complexity of the lyrics and the storytelling that Avril was getting into last week. This is the opposite of that, but it's also kind of an OG pop punk 2000s staple of just like, we're gonna do the chorus again. It's gonna be really loud this last time. Does Cartel do it slower and more intense if, Simple Plan doesn't lay the groundwork of just like, oh, we're gonna do it once more, don't you worry. We're just gonna sing the main smaller part of the chorus over and over before we do it again. It's just kind of just like that Mark Hoppus with Motion City. What's the catchy part? Let's sing the catchy part a lot. Like that's his producer philosophy, allegedly based on MC. We talked about it last week. It doesn't matter if you listen to the show, you listen to that part. But I think, I guess this is my big put some respect on the name argument. Like they may not have been on. I don't know if we are ever going to do a Mount Rushmore of the show. That's not really our. We don't really do Mount Rushmores on this program, but there's something to be said for everything they contributed, I think is what I'm trying to say, specifically with the outro of this song or the bridge into the final chorus, I guess I should say, whatever terminology is best. Any thoughts on that? I don't know. I think there was something like, there's a familiarity to how songs go based on how this song goes, based on all the stuff we listened to and jammed to in high school. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I mean, there's like 4 things you can do for a bridge. There's a guitar solo, which doesn't typically happen in pop punk. You can do a breakdown. Doesn't typically happen in pop punk. So then your only options are you can go harder than the chorus, which then makes you have to go even harder for the last chorus, or you bring it all the way down for the bridge. And I think they did the right thing. A little snare roll, just repeating I'm Just a Kid over and over and over. No doubt as to what this song is called. And it's just like really hammering it in. And there's like a feeling of almost like contemplation, feeling forlorn that you are in fact just a kid, but also some like acceptance to it. And it almost feels like the last chorus, because it has this like the whole like major key thing, like it almost has a hint of like owning it or like optimism. Like there's a little bit of positivity in there, I feel like. And I feel like the bridge, the way it swells into that, makes me feel hopeful rather than in despair that I'm going to be this kid forever, even though that's absolutely how reality panned out. But I think it's a great bridge. I think the way the chorus ends is so good. It's like a little bit louder, a little bit heavier than all the other times. It's the pop formula, A, B, C, new version of B type thing. But it's done very well. It's the formula. It's expected, like you said. And it's just done very, very well. They were working with a producer that really drove them to write pop songs, and they did it very well.
I wrote this real quick, and we talked about it last week a little bit about the random BMX biker just in the video heading to the show that Avril throws. My note here after the skateboarding scene, skateboarding and biking, active punks. Just we were on the move, man. The tiny wheel generation. We're going to ride these BMX bikes as we get lankier and lankier.
They were spray painting a sign that said no skateboarding. They were covering it up. Active punks. Yeah. Love that.
You were an active punk?
No.
I was actively in my heart.
Oh, thanks, bud.
Okay. Can we talk about the Tuba Kid? Tuba Kid. Comes waltzing into this music video and starts like lip syncing the chorus in the middle of the video. I'm like, okay, like nobody's been doing that this whole video. This is kind of a fucking mess. Like this isn't the best video. I think we could just say that. Like it's tied into a movie. It was forced, whatever. That's fine. It's fun enough and it's a great song. But I looked up Tuba Kid. I'm like, I've seen this guy before.
Yeah.
Let me read to you all the movies he's been in.
Okay.
Old School, Knocked Up, Neighbors, The Goldbergs TV show, Always Sunny TV show, Parks and Rec, he was the water fountain drinker, Greek, 17 Again, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Arrested Development TV show, Reno 911 TV, Goldmember, Catch Me If You Can, Van Wilder, Party Liaison, and American Pie 2.
Jeez.
We talk about this little slice of 2000s culture where there was only those movies being made. This fucking Tuba Kid was somehow in all of them, but never famous enough to be like, you know what I mean? I was like, who the is this Tuba Kid? And then I looked at his IMDb page. She's like, he's the glue to the fart punk movie universe. Like it was really mind boggling. There's a larger black gentleman in Old School,
who's also in
who does some of the gymnastic stuff. Yeah, he's in The New Guy. He's the drummer in the band. So there's definitely some similar circles, I guess, pumping these movies out. It's just like, yeah, it doesn't matter. They can be all the same people, I guess. You got Tuba Kid. We need random dorky, no facial hair, curly hair Tuba Kid too. But yeah, I just wanted to give a quick shout out. Although apparently not Google his name.
Just stupid.
The mystery continues. My phone battery is too low for me to Google it. I had to give a little shout out to Tuba Kid in this video because he's been in all the movies we constantly talk about on the show. For better or worse, having some of these songs involved with their, not to be confused with Shiver by the Dozen, which is a fucking American masterpiece. And if you dipshits even think about tweeting at _MNSNFM and lay any hate on Shiver by the Dozen, it's going to be over. It's going to be over. I don't know what's going to be over, but something will end. Probably me eating as much bread as I eat, but that's a different thing. That's a different thing.
So the music video ends. The nerdy guy gets the hot girl. And
hey,
so, okay, I wanted to try to come up with a reason for this because like you said, the nerdy guy isn't doing anything. He's just politely allowing the other people to take his place. Yes. So
he is avoiding death through passive action.
Right. So he's just like winner by default, I guess. But okay, so here's what I think could be a message for this movie. Don't try too hard.
No. This
Not the
music
movie,
video.
The music video. I'm sorry, the music video.
Although now that you mention it, that probably is the message of the video of the movie.
Just don't try too hard, right? Just kind of I don't know. Don't try to show off.
What if you went
be yourself?
to the RuneScape U version in junior high and were like, hey man, here's some quick wisdom from the future. Don't try so hard. Just be yourself. What would young RuneScape U have said to old 29-year-old you?
I say that's what I'm fucking doing, dude. It's not working.
No, or it is working. I'm eating Doritos, drinking Mountain Dew, and playing RuneScape and listening to Simple Plan.
It's the best life there is.
What about this is unappealing to either of us? And it's like, that's a question neither of us have been able to answer yet. Do you mind if I play? Yeah. Oh my God, I'd watch that short film. If someone from the future visits and they both still haven't solved their problems and then they just hang out and become friends.
That'd be awesome.
I know. Now I want to come and be like, hey, Tom. Hey, young Tom. I'm young Pat. Is old Tom here yet? That dude's awesome. Let's all listen to Simple Plan always. Okay. We should probably, with the windows down. Why would we put them up?
All right.
The world's going to change. Oregon's going to be on fire. It's going to be different. Sunglasses, they're going to go through this whole thing.
Long and pinchy. All right. So
better than short and pinchy. Better than short and pinchy. Which I think is, I can't even remember the callback joke. Let's put this out of its misery, Tom. And that boy was me. Okay. Nerd gets girl. Shocker. Okay. You said something about a TikTok challenge before we get to the songs of the week and everything like that.
Well, I kind of don't even care, whatever, TikTok, but I wanted to kind of wrap or just pose the question.
Oh, here's the other movie music video tie-in thing. Paramore. How did we get here? I forget the name of this song.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Decode.
there's a lot of good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks to everyone who tweeted at us. That's the one I was trying to remember earlier. Sorry.
Yeah.
But the floor, I see the floor.
But no, I mean, that's kind of like on point there. Like we did the thing from Teenage Dirtbag and the singer, Brandon, was even like, you know, I thought, why would they do these things? Who's winning? Who's getting the additional exposure? Is the movie production company paying to have the music video made because it's like marketing? And Brendan B. Brown or something was like, I don't remember, the studio may have paid for some of the music video. So like, why was it such a thing for bands to do music videos that were just kind of taking from the movie where the song was also featured in? There's a in that.
You raised an important distinction, and sorry for my chair creaking behind my movements here as I readjust to deliver this scorching hot take. Just kidding. It's not going to be hot. It's just going to be conversational. But you had raised a point on Twitter about how certain bands, they're not all cut from the same cloth, I guess is what I'm saying. Some are just songs that exist that are hits that end up being tied into soundtracks and, you know, fused with these movie plots loosely. And others, like Decode,
were written for the movie.
Are written for the soundtrack. So there's kind of like, it's not all the same situation. And I'm sure it depends who's hot at the time, what movie's coming up, which actors, which directors, who producer, you know, like who knows how any of these given things kind of came to fruition, as is. But it is kind of strange in this version of it where it's just two separate things that are super fucking separate come together for no apparent reason other than to die at the feet of Eliza Dushku. So it's really tough to say. Other than this, legend, a good Tom song. People who listen to the show, this is one of Tom's childhood songs for sure. Not like in a weird way. If that's weird to say or hear, I apologize. But that's but also it's accurate. I don't know how you want to.
Yeah,
it is.
It was very foundational to me, and it's something that still really resonates. I love this song. I love this album. I love the first two albums so fucking much.
Yeah, we talk about Sherpas. I don't know if there's like this is one of the foundation brick songs from. I will come up with a better name. That was foundation brick. Are there even foundation bricks? Okay, let's just do the songs of the week, shall we? Can I go first?
Sure.
Okay, keeping it tight, keeping it focused, as this episode has displayed our ability to do. Okay, New Jersey by Blue Deputy. This came to me after viewing a TikTok about a young lady saying, "Hey, this is what your favorite Philly, punk band says about you." And they make jokes about all of those bands. And the one about, if you listen to the Wonder Years, then you need to call your mom, was the joke. And I thought that was fucking hilarious. Anyway, there was like three parts of it, like what different punk bands say about you. And then the third one made a reference. It was like a viral campaign to like, I guess, promote their own band. And that's what this band is. It's a pretty good song. So that's how I came across this song. And also those TikToks are pretty funny. Anyway, that's what that is.
R.I.P. TikTok. So there's been a couple bands that have come across like a sponsored Instagram post. And one of them is the song Waves by Division Street. It's more like down-tempo, chill wave, vaporwave type stuff. But it's really good. I've been trying to find more artists that are like For Hill because I just think he writes the perfect chill wave music. And this guy's pretty good. So I've been vibing a couple of his singles lately, but Waves has definitely been kind of the front runner in I think the 4 songs that he has out.
Nice.
Yeah, no, good stuff. Lots of like really good new music coming out. A couple bands put out albums today. Maybe they'll make it on to later episodes, but I've been vibing that one for about a month or so.
We'll head to the post show and talk about how tired we all both are. And hopefully it wasn't too apparent. We will come back with vigor next week. I promise. I promise.
All right. Love you all. Hit us up on Twitter @_reminiscentfm. Check out the show notes.
If that boy was you, hit us up @_reminiscentfm. All right. Tom, I love you. Bye, everybody. Thanks for everything.
All right. Love you too, man. See ya. Hey friends, thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. I really, really hold this song dearly in my heart, and I'm glad we finally got to talk about it. You can check out the show notes for this episode with links to the music video, links to our monthly playlist at reminiscentpodcast.com/episode/191. And please hit us up on Twitter @_reminiscentfm. Let us know if you're blasting this song in the car with the windows down or the windows up. We love you all so much. Thank you to our Patreon supporters. We'll talk to you all next week. Hopefully talk to you on Twitter. Love you all. Bye.